Happy Quattro de Mayo solo podcast. Pants off solo pod. Stench, remember he had an epic day today of his overnight shift with a bonus of 4 extra hours, and then he was taking his kid to volleyball and I don't even remember what else, but I know he has a long ass day ahead of him. So, or did when you hear this on Quattro de Mayo. So you get stuck with just me. I did a solo podcast the other day when we were supposed to do solos, but every once in a while my computer says it records it and doesn't, so I'm going to really double check this one. So I'm assuming it will be, this one will get posted, but the other one I did I did a half hour and I chatted and said a bunch of really boring crap, and then when I went to post it, there was absolutely no audio, and I can't figure out what happened. But I'm going to try and make sure that does not happen for sure this time. So, like I said, it is Quattro de Mayo. Tomorrow's Cinco de Mayo. I don't know if you're going to go out and get crazy. I don't think I will. But fun times in LA. I don't think they celebrate it as much in other cities. I've heard people say that Cinco de Mayo is not as big a deal in other places as it is here. And, from what I understand, it's mainly just a holiday to sell beer, that even actual true Mexicans don't celebrate Cinco de Mayo as much as other holidays. So you have that, but it being on a Saturday, I'm sure it'll make places be a little crazier. It'll also, I'm sure, DUI enforcement and highway patrol will be out in force. So be smart and use that Uber or Lyft or whatever other ride sharing service. If you're old, catch cab. Although I don't think many people take cabs anymore. But yeah, there's that going on. What else is going on in the world? I'm trying to think if there was something else that I needed to tell you guys about. It is my last night dog sitting for my sister here in good old Northridge. So I am wrapping that up here at her house, and then I get to go back to Burbank where I belong and do my boring Burbank stuff that I like to do. So it has been exciting. The dog is laying here. It's funny. Her dog is really old. Emma, the dog. I've posted photos of her. You've seen her. She is, I think, 15. And I realized I've been here a week and a couple days. There were many nights where she spent a lot of the night just wandering the house. And I was like, geez, you can hear her. They have hardwood floors. I can hear her walking around. She'd do that, wake me up. And so just on a whim, 2 nights ago, when I went to bed, I turned on the lights, found her because she sleeps in another place, and woke her up and walked her into the room I was at and showed her where I was at. And that night, she didn't walk all around the house. She kind of hung out near where I was, and I realized she doesn't know I'm here most of the time. Like when I get back from work, I have to wake her up and find her. But last night, now after this whole sleeping thing happened, I noticed that I had fed her, and she had gone outside through the doggy door, and I went to sit down in another room. And when she came back in, she was walking all around the house looking for me. And she's deaf now from being so old. So I watched her for a while, and then I stood up and waved my hands at her. And when she saw me, then she came over. Most of the time, this dog doesn't know where the hell I'm here, I'm at, and if I'm here or not is what I realized. So I have to really make it known to her where I am and what I'm doing, or she gets confused and doesn't remember I'm here or where I am, which I also think that maybe her sense of smell has gone, because dogs usually can sniff you out, right? I mean, this dog is oblivious to my existence in this house unless I find her. The other day, I scared the crap out of her. I felt bad. It was over the weekend, and the kids were here with me, and we had gone out to dinner, and we got back, and it was, dusky. and the house was darker when we got in. So we got here, we came in, and like I said, she doesn't know when you come in. So I went to find her, and I walked into the room. I saw her sleeping, and I thought I saw her look up at me. So I reached down to pet her, and when I did, she jumped up and like snapped at my hand because she had been asleep, and I scared the crap out of her. I mean, that's how oblivious she was to that I was even here. She was dead asleep, and when I touched her, it scared the crap out of her. So anyway, I don't know where I'm going with this other than to tell you that this dog is old and I feel bad for her. She has enjoyed my stay, I know, because I get lots of fun food that she doesn't normally get. I made a point when I got here, I went shopping and I bought her a pack of hot dogs or turkey dogs, and I've been giving her one of those every night as a treat because this is a vegetarian household normally, so she doesn't get a hot dog very often. So she was pretty excited about that. One night, Bing and I had pizza, and she got some of that. So she's had some good people food that she doesn't normally get, and she's been excited about that. Now, she just stood up and walked. She was laying here. She stood up and walked away. She might not know I was sitting behind her. She never looked at me. And now she might go now around the house trying to figure out if I'm still here or not. Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, my sister, it looks like from all the photos I have seen that they had a very nice trip to Massachusetts and did lots of fun stuff. And I saw a post today that said that the baby took 5 steps unassisted. So it looks like will very quickly have a toddler. And that changes the game when the baby can walk. I mean, crawling is one thing, but walking, they can grab stuff higher. They're way more mobile, so good luck to them. What else did I want to tell you guys? I have watched a lot of Netflix shows about drug dealing, drug smuggling, drug trafficking, what happens to you if you get busted, what happens to you if you take, it seems like that must be the popular genre right now on Netflix. I watched a series called Dope, a Netflix series, and that was pretty good. I watched all of those. I watched a series called Trafficking. That was pretty interesting. I'm watching one now called, oh God, where's Underworld Inc. Get insiders access to illegal activities in black markets around the world where drugs, firearms, and even people are mere commodities. This one's been pretty good too, but I know where illegal guns come from and where they go around the world. I know where people are sex trafficked and how they get them to the U.S. and how they get them to wherever. I know how drug smugglers work. I know how the supply chain works for cocaine smuggling and what prices it is in different places. I'm an expert in trafficking of illegal commodities now. So I need to now figure out a way to capitalize off of all this knowledge that I have learned in my week of only Netflix watching. I'm trying to think if anything in the news interesting happened. I think I told you guys last night on the other pod, but in case I missed it. So where this pod is, right here on YouTube, I have been posting the old radio shows, and I figured out how to schedule them so that they pop up now just one a day. And so I have already scheduled shows, they're already loaded up through June 7th as this recording, and I'll probably get some more in over the weekend. So I'm almost, I'm a little over a month ahead, and there's some good stuff coming. Some Jeff the Emu guy, Jason, the little kid we talked to, Audrey, Melissa and Joan Rivers, Ty Pennington, Bob Saget. I'm just trying to think of who else. Jamie's dad, Bob White. There's a lot of good stuff coming up here. So if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel, and that way you'll be notified. you can even ask for notifications. You can find out when those new shows go up. They usually go up in the evenings. So it's been fun to hear old show stuff. I miss it. Like it was a lot of fun. There's a lot of times I hear these recordings and there's things that are painful memories, like bosses being asses to us and stuff. And I've heard some of that, but there's also times when we're just laughing and goofing off and having a good time. And, I just remember how much fun it was to go do that every day. So, and when I hear these clips and and we're screwing around, it's fun to hear that, because it was a good time there and it was a lot of fun. And I realized how much I suck. God, when I hear these old radio shows and I hear, like I hear Jamie and Stench and I talking and my parts come, I'm like, God, I am horrible. But you know that already because you listen to these solo pods. So maybe it is a good thing that I don't work in radio anymore. Let's see. What else is going on? Oh, in Radio World, I think I talked about it on the solo pod that didn't get posted because it disappeared. But Bean is back from Kevin and Bean. He's been back this whole week, and he was out on mental health leave. And I thought that was really cool that he came back and talked about it and, and let people ask him questions and stuff and I didn't hear the whole break. I've been driving, obviously, back to Burbank every morning. So I got to hear some of it. So I didn't hear everything he said, but, people always are apprehensive about talking about mental health issues. There's a lot of stigma attached to it, and people get uncomfortable, or they think it makes them look weak, or it makes them look crazy. Some of us embrace our crazy. But I thought it was really cool of somebody who has such a large audience in a major city to come out and talk about that. And it's and trust me, I'm not the best example. I mean, I do talk about it, but the first time I went to the mental hospital, they told me, they said, wow, we don't see many of you very often. And I said, what do you mean? And they said, a man who checks himself into the mental hospital. It's not seen as a manly thing to do. And most men will not go admit that they need help for mental health issues. So I think it's really cool that Bean admitted that he needed help, and he talked about going to his psychiatrist. And I don't even know what his issue was, if it was depression or bipolar or anxiety. I didn't hear that part of the discussion, but he said he was having a really hard time and he went for help, and he talked about his psychiatrist and about dealing with it and about being nervous coming back to work. And I just thought it was, like I said, it was very commendable. Although I've always been a big fan of both those guys. They were, when I was at K-Rock many, 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 many years ago, they were always super supportive and helpful and not dicky like many radio people are. In fact, a lot of great people were at K-Rock at that time. I mean, you had Kevin and Bean, and you had Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Kimmel is one of the greatest talent builders around. If he finds you and believes in you and thinks you have talent, he will really help you. And you see it on his TV show to this day. And I have nothing but respect for all those guys. They were all super supportive, and not like many people are in radio who are afraid you're going to take their jobs. And so they try and keep you back, because that happened to me a lot. I mean, Danny used to do that to Stench and I all the time. There was a point when at Star, they were going to give Stench and I our own weekend show, which would have been really cool. And Danny freaked out and had them stop it. He went in and freaked out to the bosses, and then they didn't do it. So he really, I mean, that definitely hurt, Stench and I. That exposure and doing a show together would have been, great to have that on the weekends. And, that was shot down by Danny. There was Tammy Heidi used to be super paranoid at K-Rock back in the day when she was there, and she would badmouth people and do things, like there's those kind of people, and then there's the people who are super helpful, and those are usually the people who are successful. Jamie was always super helpful to both Stench and I. I have nothing but good things to say about, all that she did for us, the two of us. Now, there were some people she didn't necessarily help. Sure, that's not true. She wasn't like work people she didn't help. She tortured some people on the air, but she was definitely very helpful and always was and still would. If I needed anything from Jamie, if I needed, a recommendation for her to call a program director, I know she would do it in a heartbeat without a second thought. I know that 100%. So I have been lucky to know a lot of the good people in radio where, not everybody can say that. So I think it's really cool. And, being on the other side of the music game, talking to radio stations from a label point of view, I can see the people who are still like that. And there's probably more paranoia in the industry now just because there's so fewer jobs and, more competition for less jobs and companies cutting back constantly and people always on edge that they're not going to have a job. So I think that paranoia has only gotten worse in the industry. And I think you probably are finding less people nowadays who are willing to help anybody just because they're for self-preservation. They're all just trying to keep their jobs as long as they can, which is sad because at some point we're going to need new talent out there. I think the thing is, radio is what radio is. And yeah, there might not be a lot of new radio talent coming forward, but those people have transitioned. They have shows on YouTube. They do vlogs. They do blogs. They do podcasts. Those people have transitioned to other mediums or media. Or I don't know. I don't know which one of those was right. But anyway, I think that's where the new talent is. I see people like, if you've ever watched Rhett and Link, they have that Magical Mystical Morning or something it's called. They are really good. They're on YouTube. And they do these I think they're 15 or 20 minute long shows. But to me, they are the new morning show. Those two guys are like a morning show. They're like a morning team. And they probably make way more money, and I know they reach way more people than any radio morning show does now. They don't make more money than like a Seacrest or, like a big syndicated show, but I bet they're making more money than most local morning shows, the ones that still exist. And they're doing it on their terms, and it's really good. I recommend if you get a chance, check it out. You can just search Rhett, R-H-E-T-T, and Link, L-I-N-K, and it'll come up. And those guys, they do some really funny stuff. They're entertaining, in my opinion. I think they are the new radio. The funny part was when I first learned of them, it was just randomly being in. I think my mom and I were watching videos of people eating ghost peppers. Somehow we got on that tip and we watched one with them. And we're like, these guys are entertaining. And so we started talking about them. Oh no, I was in a meeting with radio people and this one guy was telling me about it. So I watched a few of them. I was like, oh God, I do. I really like these guys. I enjoy this. And then about 2 weeks later, I was in Portland for work. And I go down to the lobby of my hotel, and there they are, and they were doing some bid. And I was like, if this had been 2 weeks earlier, I would have had no idea who the hell these guys were. I just learned who they were, and then I ran into them, which I just thought was kind of odd timing. But yeah, I think that's the way things are going. And I think when if you're around teenage kids, I'm around my daughter and some of her friends, those kids don't care or know anything about radio. They stream music, Spotify. They are on House Party. They're on that app talking to each other, and they're watching Netflix shows and on demand stuff. They barely watch broadcast TV. They just don't, they're very happy to watch Netflix on their phone. So we're transitioning into a different way of using TV or whatever you want to call TV now. Right now on my smuggling show, I'm learning about how people are smuggled across the U.S. border. Right now, we are doing people smuggling. A coyote just brought people across the border and then or helped lead them, and then a van pulled up and picked them all up. So add that to my list of trafficking knowledge. I can sneak people into the U.S. now, too. What else is going on in my world? I think I told you guys. I said it. I think I told you on the stupid podcast that didn't post. Right now through May 8th, so you have like 4 more days on Ticketmaster.com. They have a bunch of concerts in cities all across the country they're selling $20 tickets all in, meaning no fees, which is pretty awesome because you usually, even if you could find a concert and these are, discounted tickets, even if you could find a concert where the tickets are $20, the fees would probably still be another $10. And when you pay $50, the fees are somewhere usually around $20. So for all in on $20, and there's a lot of concerts on there. There was, depending on what city you're in, they're not like there was no Imagine Dragons for the LA show, but there were a few cities they had $20 Imagine Dragons shows. A lot in San Diego, close to here. They had Ozzy Osbourne's final tour, some lawn seats for $20. They had Channel 933 in San Diego is like a top 40 station. They had their show, their summer show, which had a bunch of top 40 people on it with lawn seats for $20. They had some, the Everclear, I can't remember who else is on it, but Everclear is doing a tour this summer with like 2 other bands of that 90s era. And they had some $20 tickets for that show. But the one I got tickets for the kids and I is the Vans Warped Tour. This is the last year that the Vans Warped Tour will be a actual traveling show. I think they're going to turn it into like a Coachella or a Lollapalooza where they'll just have it in one city on a weekend or something. But this is it for the touring version of the Vans Warped Tour, which has been going on for over 20 years, I believe. And so for $60, I got 3 tickets, flat out that you can't beat that for a all-day festival. And the kids and I will just go and check it out. They've never been to a festival type show, and it's, it's mainly pop punk and stuff that appeals to younger audience. So it should be a fun show, but it's a really great deal. They had Liam Gallagher and Richard Ashcroft, who you might not know those names, but Liam Gallagher is Noel's brother from Oasis, and Richard Ashcroft is the lead singer of The Verve. Remember they had that Bittersweet Symphony song? They are playing together at the Greek Theater. They had $20 seats for that, all in. That's it, $20. Because I know my coworker bought some. He got 2 tickets, $40. I'm trying to think what other shows were on there. There were a bunch. I don't want to screw this up, but let's see if I can open this with... It's a good deal. They do it every year. I can't remember last year. I think I got some tickets when they did it too, because like I said, concerts are expensive now. And you think you'll look at it and you'll go, all right, $50 a ticket, $100 a minute. And then when you put them in your cart and it's another $45, $50 in fees, you're like, sometimes that's a deal breaker for me. It's like I could maybe afford the tickets, but okay, where's the $20? I wanted to see what was on your Ticketmaster. I'm pretty sure it hasn't ended yet. I thought it went through May 8th. Here it is, $20 tickets. So let's see what they have. This should pop up stuff closer to the LA area. Oh, yeah, there's a Marilyn Manson, Rob Zombie show. They had a lot of stuff at that new theater in Irvine, 5 Points. Let's just go through some of the bigger names. Afghan Wigs and Built to Spill. That's a good one. If you've ever heard of those bands, they are both excellent. Here, Flock of Seagulls, $20 tickets. I don't know. Let's see where they're playing. Flock Seagulls is. Oh, that one is not by me. Those are not, does not look like. What else do we have? ABC. Remember that band? How to Be a Millionaire and Ace Frehley, dude from Kiss. They got 20. Adam Ant. AFI. AJAR. They have a hit right now with Rivers Cuomo. Alicia Cara. She had a bunch of hits last year. Alice Cooper. Alice in Chains. They don't have the original singer. Alien Ant Farm. All Time Low. But there's just a crap load of bands here. And the sale goes through May 8th. And they're limited, so you better get to them if you really want to, like, they're all not great seats. I'm not going to lie to you. They're usually in the back, but for $20 all in, they're still not a bad deal, right? And there's even comedy like D.L. Hughley. Who's that real short dude? I know that they had some tickets to his thing. So anyway, I know I had talked about it on my other solo pod, and then that one went in the toilet, and now I'm getting the another chance. Oh, here's Taking Back Sunday with Coheed and Cambria. That's a good one. Ted Nugent, if you love guns. Marilyn Manson, Rob Zombie one I debated. I was like, that might be pretty, like I saw Marilyn Manson, my sister and I went, it was pretty good. And so I debated, but we just went at the beginning of the year. So I was like, I'm not going to do that one again. Marshmello, if you're into the EDM, Maroon 5. Yeah, there's a lot of shows on here. POD, some heavy metal for you. Pennywise, some punk. Peppa the Pig has a live surprise show. There you go. Take the kids. Oh, they have Kids Bop. I know because my boss, we were talking about that. He wanted to take his kids. Ooh, what's this one? Radio 104.5 birthday show. Oh, that's in New Jersey. Like I said, they have tickets all across the country. So it doesn't matter where you're at. This deal will work out for you. You just need to go to Ticketmaster.com and then click on the $20 ticket link. And you could find something cool. All right. I am going to wrap this podcast up. You know how I always put a video for motion, just instead of just having a still image. So this video I really like. Bing and I were at the Rose Garden in Exposition Park, and I was just making these videos to put, the radio shows in. And as we were filming the flowers, the ladybug jumped on the lens of my camera. So I'm going to use that one right here. And it was just kind of cool, the ladybug on the lens of the GoPro. So if you pay attention, you will see that in this video. Stench and I will be back together on Monday, I am assuming. So have a wonderful Cinco de Mayo weekend. Be safe. Don't drive. Take a Lyft or an Uber. If you're crazy like me and you need help, seek it out. Be like Bean. Don't be a bean. What else can I tell you? And that's it. Have a great weekend. It's supposed to be warmer than it's been. And we'll do this all again on Monday. So until then, jack off.